All right, guys, we're gonna start a new unit today, talking about circles, and got a new background to give you some variety here instead of all that white stuff. Anyway, circles. The definition of a circle is all the points equidistant from a point called the center, and I have a circle right here in the bottom left corner. Basically, if we were to put dots along all these circles, all those dots are the same distance away from this point called the center. That's my center. And so all these points, and if you were to draw all the points, all the points on this circle are the same distance away from the center. All right, and if you do all those points, then you get what's called a circle. The standard form of a circle is over here on the right. We have x minus h squared in parentheses, y minus k squared in parentheses equals r squared. On the common practices, you're going to be asked to find the center and the radius of each circle in standard form. Okay, so you're going to get an equation that looks like this, and it's going to ask you to find the center. Now notice that this is a negative h and this is a negative k, but as we write it down here, it's a positive h and a positive k. What that means is whatever sign is in here, when you go to write its coordinate for the center, it's going to be the opposite. Okay, so if this is x minus, we'll look at that here in a minute. Let's just keep going. Okay, now notice also over here we have r squared. All right, but the radius is just r. So whatever number is put here, that's r squared. So if I want to know just what r is, or the radius, I have to square root this in order to figure out that value. All right, so let's take a look at 4 examples here. So here's a circle that is in standard form, and so I want to find the center, and I want to find the radius. The center is going to be an ordered pair, and if you're on a graph, it's going to be like something like 4, -3. You're going to put a dot right there. That's going to be the center. Okay, so we're trying to find what are the coordinates of that point given what we have here and here. So if you remember what we talked about before, we said, well, if this is a -3, like we have here, then in the center it's going to be a +3. And this is a minus here and a positive there. That just means opposite. So if this is a +6, it's going to be a -6 here. There's my center. And then the radius is going to be the square root of 100, which is just 10. There's my radius. There's my center. And that's all they want for the common practices. Here's another one. We have x minus 13.6. So squared plus y minus 6.9 equals 1. So the center is going to be at, so again, opposite here, positive 13.6. Opposite here, positive 6.9. The radius, well, we're just going to square root the 1, which, well, that's just 1. So there's my radius, there's my center, and that's all there is to it. Okay, over here we have another one. We have a fraction now. So, again, the center, it's going to be this one here, but it's opposite, so positive 8/3. And then over here, why don't you pause the video and see if maybe you could figure out, well, what if there's nothing there? There's no parentheses. What would the y coordinate of the center be? Try and figure that out. Pause the video. All right, so what you have here is it's actually going to be 0. It's going to be 0 there. All right, and so there's my center, and then the radius is going to be the square root of 35. If you use a calculator to approximate that, you're going to get 5.916. 079 ... because it goes on forever and ever without repeating. It's an irrational number. So the directions say round to 2 decimal places if necessary. Okay, so if I round that, I'm going to look at that 6. That's going to bump that 1 up to a 2. And then there's my There's my radius. Excuse me. And then the last one, what we have here is we have a +1, so the center is going to be at -1, and then -7. Again, opposites. The radius, well, we have a little fraction here, but I'm still going to square root it. I'm still going to square root this. And notice that both the top and the bottom of this fraction are perfect squares. We're just going to square root the top, square root the bottom, and there's my answer. Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 3 is not. Square root of 9 is 3. And then we get 4/3. And that is the second con practice for this week. Good luck.